Major developments overnight in that stimulus deal negotiations for the CR, as there's still a window to get stimulus checks in. Yes, we now know as of last night, if you did not tune into Evening's Check last night, the major change and shift, as there is no firm box of negotiations in which they're boxed into. And today we're going to see that box unravel as Nancy Pelosi tries to go over $900 billion, a number of viewers that some of the negotiators say that they're not going to do. As Mitch McConnell's going to try to urge them to throw out some stuff of the $900 billion that the $900 billion authors won't do. That the $900 billion authors are going to urge Mitch McConnell to add some stuff to his bill that he doesn't want to do. Ultimately, a lot of people are going to do different things. And this is the window for the purple power to come in. 3 things: stimulus checks, eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance. The microcosm of where the negotiations is not so tight and firm, leaving a big door for us to drive the stimulus truck right in and say, give us a stimulus check, give us an eviction moratorium, give us mortgage forbearance. Moreover, the people who authored the $900 billion bill, or at least claiming to have authored it, the problem solvers, gave you 2 stimulus checks in their bill and now wants to give you nothing? The President of the United States, who wanted to give you a stimulus check bigger than Nancy Pelosi, went up to $2,000 in the last negotiations, wants to give you nothing? Something's wrong, and we're about to make it right. It's all changing, and it's breaking good news overnight. Let's get it going. Let's get it moving. This is Purple Power, and it's also Early Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited for you because in recordings like this, it takes a lot of in-depth reporting to see where the negotiations are. And they're a lot more complex than we even thought they were as of afternoon's Thursday. As of late Thursday night, if you didn't tune into Evening's Check, we now know that the scope of the negotiations are much more wider. So please subscribe because I'm trying to get you stimulus checks. And yesterday I did something which I've never done before, and this is why you have to subscribe, is because I said, you know what, I heard a lot of people on Holidays LA, which was live and a lot of fun, say, I have questions about how this FPUC is going to work in this CR bill, and how is my UI going to get continued, and am I going to go back onto UI, and what about my PUA which expired? I saw so many questions. So you know what I did? I switched Being a Mitch into a live show only for UI. And it was a big hit because people had a lot of questions and I hopefully answered them, but I expect there's going to be more. And I may do it again today. Then I also understood that people were having a lot of questions about EIDL. So guess what? I brought back EIDL as a special yesterday and made it just as a live Q&A about EIDL. This is why you subscribe to this channel, because I don't make programming for me. I make programming for you. And when you have a question or concern and I know it needs a standalone show, I throw a standalone show in there and I go live to answer your questions, because that is probably a question that someone else has. And ironically, at the time of this recording, someone DM'd me and said, DM me a question, and then the comment right after the question was, oh, I just watched your show, you answered my question. So that's why you want to subscribe. Also like this video. In this video, I'm going to go over what happened last night and why you should be really getting those fingers, exercise those fingers, because you're going to be tweeting a lot today. Hashtag stimulus check or shutdown. Because now is the time and opportunity to really strike loud and clear. And you got to strike loud and clear. And the viewers of this channel have really understood that you need to hit certain type of people on social media that have smaller accounts that'll hear you. Let's get to those details, but first, this is an instant premiere. As an instant premiere, there's a live chat going on over here. As a live chat, it's great to interact with people because they have commonality of thought, and it's just a nice group of people. They don't always send me the bacon, but other than that, that's a really nice group of people. The bacon's burning, the toast is spilling, and the toast is, falling out of the toaster. But that's at Nancy's house, not here. So thank you for tuning in. It's a live instant premiere every day at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It continues again at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can chat with your friends, same friends you see every morning. Show does about 60,000 views every morning, so you see familiar faces. It's a great way to start your new day. And so I really appreciate you for joining me. And now let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is really sort of shocking. Everything has really changed. There's 2 proposals, and there's really almost 5 different groups of people. So it's making it a little bit confusing to follow, and I'm trying to make it easy for you. And it's so confusing to follow that I'm having to pick up the nuances of where the negotiations are by watching ancillary interviews. Like last night, the 2 problem solvers came out and were chatting in broadcast news, and then Chuck Grassley, head of the GOP, second highest ranking GOP person in the Senate, spoke about where the negotiations are heading. So let me explain what's going on. The CR, the Continuing Resolution Bill, which is the bill to operate the federal government, will get stimulus in it. That is now agreed upon. Who will sign the bill? Will the president sign the bill? And what is the president's position on it? Donald Trump yesterday made 2 statements. First, he said that he's going to do what he and Mitch agree upon. That was the first thing. Second, he said he would sign something that Mitch and him agree upon. So he's deferring to Mitch on this one, which is really quite nice. Then he's also saying, I'm rejecting the problem solvers bill. I'm going to call it the moderates bill, because I don't know when the problem solvers claim credit for this bill, but they are claiming credit for someone else's bill. So I'll call it the moderates bill, the $900 billion. He says, I'm rejecting it. I'm not going to sign that. So it's interesting because that's one group. And Mitch McConnell did a really good job about this. Before it started, he went to the White House personally, after not going to the White House for 6 months because of COVID. He went there and spoke to the president personally. He said, Mr. President, what do you want on this stimulus package? Thank you, Mitch. Let me tell you what I want. And they went over it. And then Mitch worked on that basis. Nancy Pelosi, however, was way up at $2.2 trillion again this week. Chuck Grassley called every name in the book yesterday. And suddenly she came from there all the way down to $900 billion, which is the moderates bill. But today she's going to come out with her revisions, which Chuck Grassley says, if that Nancy Pelosi goes over $900 billion, I don't want to hear from her, because we're not going over $900 billion. That's exactly how he spoke. So whatever attempt she goes over $900 billion is going to be rejected by everyone, because even the problem solvers last night says we're not going higher than $900 billion. That's the maximum number. We're not going higher. AKA, if Nancy Pelosi tries to walk in at 1.10 or something, everyone's going to say, no, we just told you we're not doing that. So you literally see 4 different fractions. What's important to understand as you sit here today is that stimulus checks is still in play. Here's the dynamic of what's going on. You have all these different fractions that want to get their thing into the bill. And then ultimately, there is no agreement on what is even in the bill. So for everyone that would sit back and say, there's no stimulus check in the bill, hence there'll never be a stimulus check in the bill. Wait a second, what are you referring to? There's 4 people writing 4 versions of this thing. So you can't sit back and say there's nothing anywhere, never, because there's 4 people that can't agree upon even what's in the bill yet. And so while we have an agreement on UI and PUA be extended, we don't have agreement upon anything else. Mitch doesn't have FPUC in it. They don't have, Mitch doesn't have state and local. They don't have liability insurance. So people just literally are not agreeing upon the terms other than UI and PUA. I think they're agreeing upon PPP also. But other than that, there's room for you to get the stimulus check in there. So you need to be on social media today and tagging the following people: McConnell's communications director, McConnell's press secretary, Pelosi's press secretary, Pelosi's chief of staff, Mnuchin, Meadows, and all the problem solvers, despite how strange they're acting lately. I'm going to say that in a nice way. Despite however strange they're acting lately, you need to tag them all and say, listen, this is inhumane. You cannot do a bill without eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance and a stimulus check. What do you want? You want people to be evicted on January 1st and be on the street in the thick of snow, but your restaurants are going to get $2 million in grant money? Who thinks like that? Who says I want restaurant owners to have a nice $2 million check? It's only $2 million. $2 million check, but I want the rest of American to be evicted on January 1st. I don't know who. It's inhumane. It's inhumane. Then mortgage forbearance. I want everyone's homes to be foreclosed upon by the banks on January 1st. I want the eviction moratorium to expire on December 31st as much as the rent eviction moratorium expires. Who does that? Who does that? Finally, stimulus check. It's shockingly horrible not to have a stimulus check in this. Now, Joe Biden said, not yesterday, but the day before, you're going to get multiple stimulus checks. You're going to get $2,400 of SSI and SSDI. You're going to get hazard pay. You're going to get these things. You're going to get all these things, Joe Biden says. I'm going to repeat again. Multiple stimulus checks. You're going to get hazard pay, and you're going to get all these other things like $2,400 SSI with the 20% increase and all the step up. You're going to get all those things. But the viewers of the channels all say the same thing. I can't wait till January. I've been waiting since May. Give me a darn stimulus check now. Now, we're not the only people saying this. We're not shouting into the forest so no one's listening. Every broadcast news report that covers the story of the CR this week, the front of the article, the title of the article, the first sentence of the article says, comma, but they didn't put a stimulus check in there. Comma, but they didn't put a stimulus check in there. Everyone's wondering the elephant in the room, and the elephant's about to raise its tusk and say, wait a second, what are you doing here? Where's the stimulus check? There's a big elephant in the room, and the elephant's a stimulus check. And everyone's wondering, why have you not put the stimulus check? So the bottom line is that Purple Power, do your thing. Go on social media. Take this video as soon as you're done. It's early in the morning. Get it going. And share it and tag all these people and say, stimulus check, eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance. It's as simple as that, because that's what Americans are owed, and that's what Americans are deserving. Now, there's that, but I have to fully advise you that as of the time of this recording, things can change 5 more times. Yesterday, Thursday, the situation was changing by the hour. So ultimately, what's important for you to do is follow me, subscribe, hit the alerts, and watch the videos, and stay on top of this with me, because what's going to be the situation at 10 a.m. may not be the situation at 12 noon. And you can't sit back and say, well, they didn't do that, and that was the situation at 10 noon, folks. That's not the situation at 12 noon. So things are going to change very quickly. The other thing I want you to stay with me is the CARES Act 1 grants and these new grants across the country. If you did not tune into Purple yesterday, the second video on Afternoons at LALATE, I detailed that some states are now rolling out $1,200 stimulus checks. Yes, states are now rolling out stimulus checks. Some states, the stimulus check is $1,200. Other states, the stimulus check is $375. One state is $25,000 for businesses. Another state is just doing stuff for everything. And they're starting with stimulus check, then they're including some rent, they're including some food, they're including some medicine. They're literally including stuff all over the board. I told you with that CARES Act 1 money, that's use or lose, and they are literally spending the money like I've never seen it. Now, in other cities and counties, they're doing stuff with money which no one sort of knows where it came from. Yesterday, Long Beach announced it had some money for restaurants and bars and similar businesses like that that have been shut down from the pandemic. Los Angeles, at least in this channel, came under fire for suddenly announcing that they suddenly found $45,000 to give to rich restaurant owners who generally have net worths of, $3 to $5 million. Give them free money, but not give rent grants to their citizens again. I didn't know. Bad news. Meantime, cities across the country are doing unusual things. One viewer in Purple Power Live last night said that they had heard that New York, the entire state of New York, is going live with another rent grant. told you there's a lot of money sitting around from CARES Act 1. They're using it or losing it. And I go, I told you it's a very finite period of time. I told you it's around December 15th. You got to spend this money. And suddenly, in the last few days, I've seen cities and states everywhere just swarm in and say, we're announcing this, we're announcing this, we're announcing this. Where do you think the money came from? CARES Act 1. CARES Act 1. So New York, new thing for you. Mississippi, Alabama, all you unusual states, Kentucky, where you think that the rent grants are gone, they're still there. Private organizations are getting the money. I'm getting you money every day. Last night's Purple Power Live was an incredible testament. Viewers got grants and rent and utilities and food all across the board in different states because of this channel, because of the volunteers. They got escalated benefits, they got EIDL. I want you to stay with me because I'm getting you money right now, not 5 days from now, 5 weeks from now. This is real money that you're owed, and it's thousands and thousands of dollars. And not a day passes, not even a half a day passes, where a viewer says, thank you, you've changed the life for me and my family. And it's because, not because I got them $100 or $200, but because I got them $10,000 or $20,000 or $15,000 or $14,000. This is a lot of money. And ultimately, when we sit back and we hear about the problem solvers and Nancy and Chuck and the president, the amount of money involved with what this thing is, that CR, may not give you $10,000. But I certainly will fight to. Join me next at 6:30 at the continuation of the show. For more, as always, stay informed, stay focused, stay smiling, and stay alive for more.